we did so. I see the machine down at Philmont Douglas machine out there. This is 27.5 minutes or even minutes. It's that 55 minutes. Them was on a little roll. We have no 2 more Monday, Wednesday. They go to the business. Yeah, 27 minutes. They've been on red roads. They've now taken but they've been on red roads.
Alrighty, if you guys wouldn't mind making your way back to your seats, and we're going to go through some more door prizes.
That's why I read
Ruben Byler Sr. Ruben Byler Sr. We have Jerome Graybright. Next up is Jenna Fisher. Jonas Borntrager. Next one is Merlin Yoder. Bill Wolf. Levi Kine. Levi L. Next one is John Raper. John Raper. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and get started here with the next speaker. We'll talk a little bit more here towards the end on the next guy here. The next one up is Andy Ellsworth. I'll be honest with you guys, when I came into the general manager position, if I had to pick one person, not even counting my dad, who I guess I was probably less nervous of my dad than what I was of Andy Ellsworth. I knew that Andy was going to be very hard on me. He was going to make sure that I did everything correct. But with that being said, over the last year, Andy and I's relationship has grown very close. I'll talk a little more on it in a little bit. We got to do a really fun trip together this year, and I've learned a lot from Andy as well. His relationship with people, how he handles himself, his manners, and that's kind of what he's going to kick off here today. So with that being said, next up is Andy Ellsworth. Alrighty, everyone hear me okay? I think we're good up here, so. Well, great, as RJ said, my name's Andy Ellsworth, Territory Manager with DAC. I've been with you guys, or with us now for 15 years, so I've been kind of along for the ride. We've seen a lot of changes through those years. I know we talked about some of those last year. We've seen this company grow tremendously, and it's been really good to be part of it. So last year when I came up here and spoke, forget my notes here, when I came up and spoke, we spoke a lot about setting goals for yourselves as dealers, and I know a lot of you guys did that. And I stress, if you have not set your goals for this year, you know, we're already 2.5 months into the year, 3.5 I should say, into the year. Make sure you get your goals set. You know, set that goal, work for it every day, break it down, and make it attainable. So last year I talked about this. Well, this year what I want to talk about is helping you guys meet those goals on more of a personal level. And we're going to talk about creating lifelong customers. You know, we want that customer that we can rely on. We want to be a resource for that customer. So we're going to break it down into kind of 3 different steps here in just a second. But what I want to talk first about, a little story that I have. If we go to the next slide. We're going to talk about knowledge. We're going to talk about execution. We're going to talk about retention. And I think understanding these 3 levels, making sure you're doing them in the proper order, is going to allow you guys to grow, is going to allow you guys to create those lifelong customers versus just that transactional where it's a one-time deal and they're gone. So, but before I even get into this, I just lived this pyramid not too long ago, the knowledge, execution, and retention part. And I didn't realize it until I kind of sat down and started working on what I wanted to talk about for this event. So in January, I was looking to buy a new truck. And I've always bought my trucks in a little place in town there. I live in Pella, Iowa, a little place in town. I've always bought my trucks there because they're reliable. I know I can go in there convenience-wise. But I thought to myself, I said, you know what? I'm going to check them out. I'm going to go to a bigger city. I'm going to go to, I'll say a big box, if you want to say that. I'll go to a big box store and buy a truck there. You know, I've heard a lot of my friends buy from there. They get cheaper, they get better deals. We're going to go over there, we're going to do that. So I got online and looked, they had the exact same truck that was in town over at the big box store. The exact same truck. The pricing was the same online. So I said, well, we'll go try them out. So I went over, met with the salesman, walked in, kind of told him the truck that I was looking for. He said, do you want to drive it? You want to test drive? I said, no, I don't need to. I said, but tell me a little bit about the truck. I knew that was the truck I was going to buy. I said, tell me a little bit about it. Well, it's gray. It's got 4 wheels. And that's about where he quit. He didn't know anything about the truck. None whatsoever. He had not met this first part, the knowledge part. He was just trying to go to the sell part. Jumped right to the price. What do you want to pay? What do you want to do on your trade? And I told him kind of where I wanted to be at. And we dickered back and forth a little bit. And I left. I talked to my hometown dealer. I said, here's where we're at with these guys. Can you do better? We can get close. I said, well, how close can we get? He said, well, it's going to cost $500 more. And I sat a few days and waited, and I had phone calls from both. You know how car dealers are. Phone calls from both ones. Oh, there's someone coming in to look at it. You better hurry up. You didn't know one of those. And I let it sit. And I got to the point again. I knew I was going to buy a vehicle. I knew it was going to cost me $500 more to buy that vehicle in town. But I ended up buying from them because I knew my salesperson there. I knew if I had a question. They told me everything about the truck. All the bells and whistles, everything. I knew if I had issues, they were there for me. They've proven that in the past. So it cost me $500 more to buy that truck, but really it didn't, because I have that service, I have that peace of mind, I have that peace that I know if I have issues, I can take it in there. I travel a lot, and I know if I call them Monday morning and say, hey, I need to get in there, I need to get something done before I take off, they're going to make it work. They're going to bend over backwards because they know me. They know my schedule, they know my needs. Whereas that big box store, it was just price. That's all he could offer me. I can save you money, I can save you money. That was it. I didn't get the service, I didn't get the commitment from them. So for me, again, it starts at the bottom. And what we're going to do is we're going to break down this knowledge, this execution, this retention part. But I want to do 2 things totally unrelated to what I'm going to talk about today first. Can I get everyone to stand up? Next time, you guys all been snacking all day, right? Okay, let me say this right. If this is your first time at DAC Days, stay standing. Everyone else sit down. First time people, stay standing. I thought so. I saw we had a lot of good people. Let's give them a lot. Okay, now you have to jump up down 3 times and you can sit. Go ahead and sit. Thank you. Okay, then the last thing before we get started, I want to address one of the biggest mysteries that I've noticed today. You guys all got those round things with the logos on them in the middle of your tables? They're cookies. You guys can eat them. They're not horse treats. They're not dog treats. You can actually eat them, I promise. And I haven't tried one yet, but I've heard they're really good. I had multiple people looking at them, and if anyone else is eating them. So. Yes. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. There we go. All right, so let's dig into this a little bit. Again, I think this is something that if we all take this to heart, we really focus on these 3 steps, you're going to meet those goals that I want you guys to set for yourselves. You know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on your DAC sales. I know a lot of people in here, you know, DAC isn't their main business. They've got secondary businesses, or maybe they're working for someone else, or maybe they have a training operation. I still believe if you take care of these three things, you're going to be successful. So the first one there is the knowledge part. And the biggest thing to understand, you know, the story that I just told you, that big box store tried to skip the knowledge part, and they went up to the execution. They didn't get to retention because they didn't give it fast enough. But you've got to have the knowledge part down, and I think DAC does a tremendous job of providing you guys those resources to know your products. You cannot sell what you do not know. You're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to lose that customer. You don't have to know everything. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know. And it's great in my position, it's great in your guys' position because you have resources. DAC provides resources for you. Your territory manager, you know, they're your #1 contact. Go to them if you have questions. PHN, Kemin, Alltech, Zenpro, our partners are there for you guys as well. If we don't know the answers as territory managers, we can go to them. You guys can work directly with them as well. So you have those resources. Webinars. I can't stress enough. Usually the first Thursday of every month, 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, you do not have to have a computer. The customers that sell the most in my area are the customers that are on those webinars. Why? They're building that knowledge part. They're building they know their resources. They're building that knowledge so they can go out and share with their customers. Take advantage of those webinars. If you've missed them or maybe you're new, I know we're all coming in, a lot of new people, first time DAC Days. You know, maybe you're a new dealer to us. There's tons of them online. You can go back and listen to them. Our YouTube page, you can go back and listen to past webinars. So I stress that you do that. Newsletters. Newsletters don't work if you don't read them. Read your newsletter. There's a lot of good information in there for you. Keep it, file it away. Because we cover different topics in it. Dr. Duran and Dr. Keep It always have a piece in there. And you know, maybe you forget something, you can go back and refresh yourself. So make sure you're reading those newsletters. Attend meetings. You know, I look at this. You guys are committed because you're here. And we appreciate that. I can't stress enough how much we appreciate you guys being here, building your side of the team to make everyone better. So, but attend meetings. I've heard a lot of my customers, and I do a lot of meetings in my areas, and when it's their meeting, they're just focused on taking care of everything. They're focused on, man, do I have this, do I have this, do I have this? And what I found is some of them will go to maybe a neighboring meeting, and they say, oh man, that was great. I didn't have to think about if we have enough pizza or ice cream. I didn't think, I have to think about if we have the seating, is the lighting right? I could just go listen. I could just take it in. So I stress that, you know, I know we're spread out all over, but there's also other dealers that aren't too far from you, so maybe see when their meeting is. Go there. That other dealer's a resource for you as well. Network. And that's what I love about this. You know, I wish we could come in here and have 40-minute breaks on every break so you guys have more time to mingle and talk. And that's one thing I know a lot of you guys were at the warehouse last night. Next year we'll do the same thing, the evening before. You know, 7 to 9. I told RJ the older I get, I'd rather be 6 to 8. But the night before at the warehouse, that's a great opportunity to come in and talk with other dealers, bounce ideas off of each other, see what's working. So take advantage of that. And other dealers are a great resource for you. So you've got to know your resources, know your products. Start with the products you're comfortable with. I don't expect you to jump in and know every single product, but master one. For me, master DDA, master oil. Then build from there. You're not going to learn it all every day, but master one. Oil will get you into any bar. DDA will get you into any bar. Vitamin E will get you into any bar. You know, when you go in, maybe say with an orange or a colt grower, then it's a little more work because maybe they're feeding a 45 days and you have to switch their feed program. If you're new to someone, you go in there and go, no, you can't do this, you have to do this. They're going to say, you know, I don't want change. I hate change, I don't want change. But if you go in there and say, you don't have to change anything except add this, add that DDA. Come back 60 days later, they're going to say, holy cow, this product works. Maybe I'm open to change. Maybe I will look at adding an orange or a cold throw or whatever it may be. So start with the products you know, but don't stop there. Build, build, build. master that one, then move on to the next, then move on to the next, then move on to the next. So start with products you know your products, that is key. You cannot skip this step. And I can't stress that enough. You will not be successful if you don't know it yourself. So really focus on that knowledge part. Build your team. You know, again, on our side, DAC, we've done a tremendous job putting a team there for you. But also, in your area, in your community, work with your local veterinarian. Work with other horse trainers, friends, family. That's a great part of the team. Work with other people in the industry. You know, when I think of a team atmosphere, I always, Tammy's like, Tammy Harms up in Platteville, Wisconsin. It's funny on Facebook. She'll post all the time and say, hey, anyone going to such and such barrel race? I can't make it, but someone needs product up there. And there's always 4 or 5 comments within, it seems like 10 minutes. Hey, I'm going, or this person's going, or this person's going. Those people don't have anything to really to gain out of taking it up there. That's part of her team. That's part of her circle. The larger you can make your circle, the better you can take care of your customers, the more customers you're going to have. So build your team out. Again, you come in with a really strong team set from our side. But then work in your area with your team. Try to get more people on your team. So, practice. That's one key. Practice on your, best friend. Try to sell them something. Practice on your territory manager. Go through the spiel. Have them throw questions at you. You answer those questions back. And again, don't be afraid to say, I don't know. I'll find out. That's the key part. I'll find out. Just say, I don't know. You're just doing it. I'll find out. And then follow up with Tanya, with your territory manager, with whoever. But then the key part is they get back to that customer with that actual answer. So it starts with knowledge. And if you don't have that, you can't step farther up. You're not going to have that growth. You're going to be more of a transactional sale where it's a one-time deal. You're never going to see that person. So start with the knowledge part. Now, if you move, I guess I got ahead of myself here. I hear this a lot. I'm not good at sales, or I'm not a salesperson. You know, I said that. I said, I don't care. We've got a good product. It's easy to sell, but we've also got to realize that sales, it's not a talent. It's a skill. A talent is something that you're born with. A skill is something you can practice. You can make yourself better by practicing every single day. So I said practice. Again, start with what you know, where you're comfortable, where you're confident, and then go from there. Practice. And pretty soon, you'll say, sales are easy. All you're doing is telling a story. That's all you're doing. Know your story. All you're doing is telling a story. You're listening. We'll talk about that a little bit. You're telling a story. So that's the neat part. I'm not good at sales. Great, we can get you there. Practice. Let's build that knowledge, and then let's practice sharing that knowledge. Let's practice sharing what you've learned. Now we get into the execution part. You've taken care of that knowledge. Execution is hard. Paul Kalmbach talked about courage. Execution takes courage. Get out there. Go to an event. Don't be afraid to fail. I think I told this story in here actually. The first meeting that I did was for Aaron Yoder. We had a big crowd. We didn't sell anything. I was scared. I was sweating. It was hot anyway. But we didn't sell anything there. I looked at that and I'm like, man, that was a failure. But I did it and I learned from it. Go out there, pick an event. And this is something we're working with your territory manager on picking maybe the right event to go to. Or work with other dealers. Say, hey, you've gone out, maybe you've set up at something. What do you find works best for you? What should I take? How should I set it up? But that part takes courage. You've got to take that step to get out there. Host a meeting. That is one of the best things. Number one, it's on your home turf. You're not going somewhere foreign. Lots of times that meeting's maybe at your house. Well, raise your hand if you're a horse person. Raise your hand if you like sharing stories about your horse. Man, that's an easy conversation starter right there. That's an easy way to get comfortable. Bring them into your house. Host that meeting. You've got help when you're doing that. I would wish I could get to every event, other territory managers as well. We wish we could stand next to you every time you're going to that event. It's just not feasible. Those meetings, lots of times we're there. You know, we can be the buffer for you. We can be the help for you right there that day. So host a meeting. In a meeting, there's many different types of meetings. You know, there's webinars, there's in-house meetings. So work with your territory manager. If you're not, it's a tremendous way for you guys to help execute, help get that knowledge out there. Avoid chaos. It is a chaotic world we live in. It's a busy world, it's a crazy world. Avoid chaos. And I picture this more when you're going out to an event, maybe you're setting up. So what do I mean by avoid chaos? Be ready. Be organized. Have your booth in place. Have your booth look nice. Everything looks clean. Everything's pointing the right direction. Display it in a way that you're proud of. But be ready for those customers to come in. Have your ticket books. Have your bags ready for them. Have your scoops, your pumps, all that stuff. But be ready for them to avoid that chaos. We did in February, Nicole spoke on setting up an event, and I think that's a really good one. It is on the YouTube channel. Go back and listen to that. And she said, there's things that you need to take, and we could print that off for you guys that maybe don't have access to the internet. Here's a list of things you need to take when you go to a show to be ready. Because the last thing, and I'm sure you guys have all lived it, last thing I want when I go try to buy something from someone is them not being ready for it. Oh, hold on, I gotta go find this. Hold on, let me find a table. Hold on, I don't know this, I don't know that, I don't know that. Pretty soon you're sitting and going, man, let's go. You know, we're always in a hurry, but let's go, let's be ready. So be ready for that customer. Be ready to be there, be ready to answer the questions and avoid that chaos. Listen. It's one of the hardest things to do these days. Take time and not just listen, actively listen. Undivided attention. Look that person in the eye, face that person, and try to understand where they're coming from. Ask leading questions. You can't fix their horse if you don't know what's really going on. Ask questions. Hey, what are you feeding for headache? What are you seeing? Are you seeing this horse diarrhea? Look at the poop. As Jenna said, look at the poop. Ask those questions that gives you a better picture of what's going on with that animal. Instead of just saying, oh yeah, you need this or you need this. But you've got to listen, and I'll come back to listen in just a second. And then reflect. I think this is one of the biggest things. Because we all fail, we all succeed. Reflect on both. You have someone comes in, they don't know anything about the products, you tell them about the products, you sell them the products, that's great, that's a victory, right? Why did it work? What helped you make that person know that they needed DAC? Why did that work? The next person comes in, they come in, you spend 10, 15 minutes with them, you're talking, they don't buy anything. Why did that not work? Did you do something differently? Well, maybe the customer just flat wasn't going to buy regardless. Or maybe you didn't listen, or maybe you didn't get to the right product, or maybe you didn't know the right product to recommend. So reflect on both our positives and our negatives. You're going to learn a lot. You learn a lot from wins, you learn a lot from losses. So make sure we reflect every time that something works, every time that something doesn't. But go back to the listening part. I think this pretty well sums it up. Listening is an essential life skill, yet most of us have never practiced listening. We practice sports, music, dance, and art. Practice listening. You hear the key word in there? It's a skill. It's not a talent. We talk talent is born into you. We're born with talent. It's a skill. We can all get better at listening, and you will be a better, I truly believe, a better person, a better spouse, a better salesperson, more successful if you can listen. Customers tell you what they want. A lot of times we just don't listen. So make sure we really focus on that listening part. Get in there, ask the right questions, and listen. Now let's get to the retention. Because we all want to build. We want to keep building business. One thing about retaining a customer, I was reading, when I decided what I wanted to talk about this year, I did what most people do. I hopped on Google. And I searched how to create lifelong customers. And in half a second, 3 billion articles came up on how to create lifelong customers. I did what a lot of people do then, is I just closed that because it's overwhelming. I wasn't going to read all those. But one thing that stuck out to me, the very first line said, it costs you 6 times more to gain a new customer than to keep an existing one. Now that cost can be money. No one wants to spend more money than that. But more importantly, that cost is time. That time part limits all of us, doesn't it? You know, whether it's time away from your family, whether it's time away from maybe doing something else you want to do. So it costs you 6 times more to gain a new customer than it does to keep that existing one. So take care of those existing ones. Foster that relationship that we have with those. They're going to come back time and time and time and time again in their lives. So how do we do that? That's the retention part. And again, we're not going to get to retention if we don't have the knowledge. We're not. You do someone wrong one time, maybe it wasn't on purpose. Maybe you recommend the wrong product out of them because you haven't built that knowledge. They're not going to come back more likely. So we've got to have that knowledge part. But how do we retain those customers? How do we keep those customers coming back? Become a resource. And that's one of the biggest things. And I've heard Dr. Cuba say a million times, we all want to feel like we can help someone else. And that is very true. We want to help these customers meet their needs of their horse. We're all doing different things with our horses here. We've all got different goals for them. But figure that out with your customer. Get personal. When I say get personal, you don't have to know what they have for breakfast or what their favorite movie is. But know more about their horse. Know more about what their goal is for that horse. Do they just want that horse to live a happy life out in the pasture? Or do they want that horse to be a racehorse? Or an eventing horse? Get personal and level. Know more about them. What's your business? How's business going? How the kids doing? Build that relationship. Build that. Instill that in them. They'll keep coming back for you. Communicate. I think this is a big one, and I know some of the speakers today talk about communication. Communicate with your customers. Let them know maybe when you're going to be in the area. Let them know that there's a sale coming up. I know a lot of the dealers that I had come out here, we've had meetings for them in the past week, 10 days, and they said to their customers, hey, I'm going out to Ohio next week. I get better pricing when I come out there. You want to just wait a week before you place that order? Let me know what you need. I'll pick it up. I'll get out there and you'll see. Communicate those sales. Communicate new things. Communicate something you learned today. Again, there's, I don't know a head count yet, but there's, 150, 200 people in here. But if you go out and share something that you learned today, that's 400 people. Multiply that. Let them know that you learned something, they passed it on, someone else did. So communicate what you learned, communicate about your sales, communicate what's going on maybe with the company, because you're kind of their lifeline. Hey, DAC's coming out with a new ingredient. DAC's going to add a really neat smell to the Laser HD, which I don't know if I'm supposed to say. We are. Oh, it's not on there. Okay, good. Perfect. But go out there and tell customers about it. Plan ahead, get them ahead of it. People look forward to that. They're going to be excited about it. So communicate with your customers, and they'll feel like they're part of the team as well, which is great. Strengthen numbers. Incentivize. Give those customers an incentive. Say, hey, you know what? You've been buying a lot of product here. If you buy one more bag, I'm going to throw in a 5-pound something. I'm going to throw in a hair care. Or you know what? I go back to Tammy. Tammy's got a referral program with a lot of her really good customers. Say, hey, if you send someone my way and they say you send them my way, I'll give you $10 off your next purchase. Do a punch card. I've got dealers that do punch cards. Hey, you buy from me $100 value, I'll punch a card. Every $100, when you get up to $1,000, you're going to get whatever you decide. So incentivize that. They're going to be more likely to come back to you and maybe not use the products or maybe buy them somewhere else. Again, you're building your own individual business, so incentivize them. And then the last part, and I guess before I get to that, I want to talk about the retention part again. I think DAC also does a tremendous job helping you guys on that. But we've got a quality product. And that's one great part. I talk about people say we're not salesmen. We're not a salesman. You can learn. But at the beginning, we've got a tremendous product. We've got a tremendous brand. When I started with DAC 15 years ago, a lot of people didn't know about it. Or they thought it was the DAC oil company. They thought that was the only product that we had. And over the past 15 years, through our partnerships, through our distributors, through our dealers, we have built a tremendous brand for you guys. So we've got that part taken care of. We do fast deliveries. That's another thing in retention. Customer service is a big part of it. Don't make those customers wait. People want results yesterday. I've said many times our best dealers are the ones that have the products. If you don't, get it. You know, our warehouse is busy as ever, but there's still about same-day shipping. Every once in a while it might take a little bit longer. You get an order in on Monday, it's going to ship Monday morning. If not Monday, it'll ship Tuesday. You know, we try to get out to you guys as fast as we can, take care of those customers. Again, because if they make a trip, you don't have it there, they're either, hopefully they make that trip back. Lots of times they'll say, forget about it, I don't need it, or they'll go buy something else worthless. So make sure we help on the customer service getting to you guys, make sure you get out to those. And then the closing part, say thank you. It doesn't cost anymore. But say a specific thank you. Say to that person, thank you for stopping in and sharing your story about your horse. I hope he recovers. Or thank you for coming in and telling me about your dog. You know, don't just, a thank you is nice, but a lot of thank yous are empty. Thank you. So make it specific. That customer will feel better about you, about the situation they're in, and ultimately about our product. So don't be afraid to say thank you. You know, again, I know this world is an interesting place, and sometimes that's all it takes. So in closing, thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for making the trip. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Andy. You know, I love getting to go hear Andy speak, and I never really got to travel with Andy when he was a sales rep or is a sales rep. When I was in sales, and my father always would come home and say, you know, we had 7 meetings that day, and they were only there for 3 days, and I'm like, how did you do that? He's like, he had breakfast, lunch, and dinner meetings, and Dad would come home, and it would take me 3 or 4 days to get recovered. And I always wondered, you know, I tried to schedule my meetings like that, and I could never quite get that accomplished. But there's a reason, you know, the studies that he puts behind his madness there, he knows everything he needs to do down to that second, down to that minute on helping you guys out. And I think it all boils down to he builds his team. We have built our team. We're glad to have you guys on our team. We're glad to have people like Andy on our team as well. We're going to go right into the next speaker, and that is Dr. Tanya Cubitt again, and talking about our partnership with Performance Horse Nutrition.
I'm not really going to talk about that. He's going off this, and I just changed things. Tina said, really, you can't change things? Well, I am. I'm changing things. So I actually talked about that this morning. And this afternoon, you always want to know what's new. And so RJ and I talked about just keeping you up to date with some of the improvements, updates we've made to the products, why we've done them. You know, we listen to you guys. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we start, I wanted to tell a quick Andy story. And you probably heard it before, but I still have PTSD over this. The very first time I traveled, maybe the first or second time I traveled with Andy, it was, I don't know, we were out in one of the states that start with an I, and there was a tornado coming. And I don't know, you know, he was really trying to impress, and we're going to get to the next meeting, and we're going to do it. And I'm like, do you think we should go out in this weather? We'll be fine. We get a little way out to that weather, and he says, I think we need to go back. So I've never forgotten that. But anyway. And I also, you know, we talk about team all the time, and Andy has been exceptional in his sales, but over the last couple of years, I've got to talk with his wife more, and I will tell you that you have somebody standing out in front. You've got RJ standing out in front, you've got Randy, you've got myself. Behind us, there's always somebody at home that's always holding down the fort. You've got Nicole down there, and I know she does a lot with her husband, so the team starts at home as well. So we're all very thankful to have a really great team in our own household, so that's super important. But what's new? What's new? The first product that I would like to talk about is the DAC Metabolic. It's a relatively new product for those of you that aren't that familiar with the DAC Metabolic. It is chromium and magnesium, right? It's the Chemtrace chromium, comes from Chemin, which is the only FDA-approved chromium for use in horses. Chromium is an exceptional product. It unlocks glucose, which is really the fuel for life, and enables the animal to, do whether it be immune function, brain function, recovery. Chromium is quite exceptional. With the metabolic, we put this product together. For years, people had asked me about, we need a product for horses with laminitis or insulin resistance. Have you heard about this herb? Have you heard about that thing? And I was like, no, none of those things work. Until we came to the Chromium product, we started using it right when it had been officially approved by the FDA, and there is a boatload of science in horses and in a lot of other livestock species on its ability to help with glucose and insulin regulation. So the DAC metabolic, those insulin-resistant horses that their insulin function is broken, the chromium in that product helps those horses. But you'll notice on the tiny little white pellets, that's what the DAC metabolic looked like when we first launched this product. It was manufactured by a company that sells primarily milk products, so they wouldn't have anything of color in their milk. So no alfalfa, nothing like that. So it was a whey-based product, and it was in that tiny little pellet. To get a product into that tiny little pellet, which we thought was a bit of a novelty at the time, it would be easy to put in your feed and mix in well, high pressure and high steam. So any of you that have used the metabolic know that it kind of had a bit of a smell at times that I would get a lot of messages about ferment in the warehouse. It smells again, you need to do something about it. So anyway, we actually have changed manufacturers, and the picture on the right-hand side, or the other side, greener pellet, that's now got an alfalfa carrier. Much more palatable. If you smell it, it smells really normal. There's no kind of off smell to it. It is exactly the same product, exactly the same guaranteed analysis, all the key benefits, the chromium and the magnesium, but it does look different. I know that the biggest mistake you can make with horse people is changing what the product looks like, okay? But so I'm just giving you the backstory on why we made those changes. The quality control is going to be a lot easier with this, and Kalmbach is actually now manufacturing that product for us. So if you've got any questions about that, I'll take them at the end, but it is still the same great product. If you've had success with it in the past, you will continue to have success, even more because now more horses will probably want to eat it. The next product that we have made significant changes to, and this is listening to you guys, listening to the territory managers, the Breeder's Choice Plus. So one of the questions I get a lot from newer people that come to the DAC company or are using the DAC products is, how do I choose between products, whether it be the orange and the Total Performance and the Breeder's Choice Plus or the Colt Grower? How do I choose? We'll talk about vitamins and minerals. How do I decide which one's the right one for me? Well, the Colt Grower is kind of easy. It's got a young horse name in it. It's for a young horse. But then Total Performance, orange. Like if you look at the label, like a lay person may say, I don't really know what the difference is. And so a lot of times we would say the Breeder's Choice Plus, it has slightly more vitamin A in it, selenium, and those things are excellent for improved reproductive efficiency. The Breeder's Choice Plus product was always manufactured and positioned for those broodmares and stallions. But if you had DAC Orange in your program and your mares did have no problems getting pregnant, then you could use the DAC Orange, right? So it didn't have a clear lane other than the name. We wanted to improve that. We wanted to make this very specifically for the breeding horse and put some of those added technologies in there that we know are going to help with reproductive efficiency and bone density in those foals. So the first addition is that calcium powder, right? The calcite, the marine-derived calcium. We've talked about it before. We talk about it a lot when it comes to gastric ulcers. Because of the actual physical form, it looks like honeycomb under a microscope, right? And if you get your catalog out, that page on the screen there, that is a page in the catalog now. Again, a new tool to help you sell that technology, right? Sometimes I get a bit lost and I'm like, well, I know how to sell it. I'm talking about it all the time, but I read it, live and breathe it every day, and I know, like, there's a lot of you that don't do this every day. Maybe you've got other jobs. So I wanted to make it a lot more simplified so that you have a tool, like with the GI Pro 3, the Calci paddle. We've got a tool here so that when you get in a situation, you've got 30 seconds to sell somebody on a new technology, it's much easier for you. So anyway, the Breeders' Choice Plus has that calcite, the Calci powder in it, along with the Cool Gut and the Pre-Buff and the Culture. And why it's in the Breeders' Choice Plus now is because of that bone density. Significant amount of research done on this product, this ingredient, the calcite, calci powder, improving bone density in those young horses and those young foals, and that will pass through the placental barrier and it will improve the bone density, it's more like cartilage density in that fetus. It will also help with milk quality. The other change we made was to add the chromium, the Chemtrace chromium, which we've talked about for glucose and insulin, and how in those metabolic horses with the crusty neck that can't have high sugars and starches, because the reason why they can't have sugars and starches is because they can't clear that glucose out of the blood, and the chromium helps them do that. In a performance horse or an animal that we're expecting to have high performance, which is a broodmare, there really isn't much higher caloric or nutrient requirements than making a baby. We know that the chromium increases reproductive efficiency, okay? It will reduce infection, improve conception rates, improve pregnancy rates. This next one I think is huge, is a huge selling point, because anytime we add technologies, yes, it does increase the price. You get what you pay for. But right here, somebody says, oh, really? You had to increase the price? I'm sure I want to buy that. Reduced days to first service. So anyone in the broodmare game knows, send a mare to the stud, send her off to the breeding farm, and she doesn't take that first time. She doesn't cycle, or she doesn't take. She's got to stay there, with them feeding her, send you a bill, until they can have another go. And that is going to cost you a lot more than $5 that we increase the bag price. So, reduced days. Sometimes you got to reposition it to how much is it costing you not to use this technology. Right? It also increased number of viable oocytes. And all of this research has been done in high stress situations. We've done a lot of work in dairy cows on reproductive efficiency. So those two ingredients are in the Breeders' Choice Plus now. So really, if you have broodmares and you want to level up and you want to really feed them something that is going to help with reproductive efficiency, help throughout that pregnancy, the Breeders' Choice Plus would be my choice over the other vitamins and minerals. Last year, we launched fly control in the lick tub, and there was a lot of questions. People said, well, what if we don't want to feed the lick tub? How can we just have the fly control? Can't you just sell us the fly control without the lick tub? And we said, oh, I don't know. So now you can buy the fly control, 40-pound bag. It's got a very low feeding rate, a long shelf life. The one thing is, with any fly control, is that all animals on your property have to be on some kind of fly control. So this actually does help us out, because we know that not every horse would be on a lick tub. Maybe you've got the horses out here that are maintenance horses, not doing a lot, they're eating the lick tub. You've got performance horses in the barn. They weren't eating the lick tub, so they weren't getting that fly control. So now you will have access to be able to put that. Don't ask me a question about how much it's going to cost or when you're going to get it. Direct that to RJ right in the back there. I know it's coming very soon. we toyed with, there's a couple of things that are on the horizon. Should we tell you? Should we let it out of the bag now? But my thing is, you know, we've got everybody here. As Andy said, you're going to go home and talk to people. So this is an excellent opportunity to get people excited, to get information out there. That's what I kind of use this platform for, just get information out there. The pre-buff, I know the pre-buff has been a little bit of a bane in everybody's side. We've had some issues with the bottles exploding. And I put it up here because I want you to know that we're continually working on this. It's a great product. It's that marine-derived calcium in a liquid form. It's kind of thick. It's the only DAC product that works instantaneously. Every other product you need to look, 30, 60 days. This product works immediately. You feed it and your horse's gut is instantaneously buffered. All right? You're going to trailer. You're going to have the veterinarians coming, you're going to ride the horse. I know he doesn't have ulcers, but I don't want him to get ulcers. I know he's going into a stressful situation. The pre-buff is a perfect product to feed, but we've had obviously some manufacturing. We're working with a different manufacturer to make sure that consistency and quality comes first. We've had products, and I know it gets very frustrating when you see backordered, not available, when we've got this great product. But it's the utmost of importance that we continue to provide you with a consistently good product. And if it's not being consistently, having the quality control that we want, then we will hold it until we can get at that point. So I just want to tell you, I apologize that we've been having these issues, but in transparency, you see that something's backordered like that there's a reason, a good reason. We don't want to send out product that doesn't match our standards. So that's what we're working on. And lastly, the cool gut. The cool gut, there's nothing wrong with the cool gut, other than sometimes it's made in the same facility, the manufacturing facility that has, will not have any green products in it, and so it's whey-based as well. Back in the day, I tried to put butyrol in it and it really smelled. So there's been things that I've wanted to do, technology's come along and I've wanted to improve it or add it here or add there, and I haven't been able to. Again, this is that tiny pellet, and so we're looking to have this one manufactured also by Combux, so it would mean that it would change, like the metabolic did, go from a tiny white pellet to a dark green pellet. And I know that might freak everybody out, but I'll tell you, I'm just telling you now, that if it does change, we will let you know. That is something that we're looking at doing. So that then we can make it, it's easier with a larger pellet to be able to add new technologies. That tiny pellet does restrict us on what we can add. It has to go through a lot of high heat and pressure to get that tiny pellet, and that decreases the amount of technologies you can put in there, because some of them are broken down by that. So again, just to make sure that we're giving you the best product that we can. A little insight into some manufacturing. That's not what we talk about a lot, but it is a big part of supplying you with quality products. And I think that not only is communication, Andy talked about communication, there's nothing that we want to hide from you. Like, we're transparent. I think that's very important. That a lot of times people say that the experts that work with a company are the furthest away and you never get access to them. But there's so many of you in here that I know on a first name basis that communicate with me regularly, whether it be by text or phone call or email. And so I want to continue that relationship. I want to make sure that you all know that I am a resource, that Dr. Durham is a resource. And that only starts by building that relationship so that you feel like you can trust me. I'm being open and honest about what we're doing. So I actually don't have any more because I knew that this would lead into the Q&A section, and I knew you probably have a lot of questions. That's why I made Andy go first. And there was a method to my madness. So I don't know whether Andy and RJ want to come back up here or whoever's supposed to do the Q&A with me. Just making assumptions for me to help answer the questions, but you know what assumptions make.
We'll open it up here for the next 5 to 10 minutes on questions. Got one Breeders' Choice Plus, yes. The product that is going to be shipping out, we only have about 45 bags of the old stuff left. I have set it aside. If you guys place your orders, you guys have came to DAC Days, you're the first ones to hear about it. You all will receive the new Breeders' Choice Plus rolling out there. The metabolic, there's 20 pounders left, depending on the size you get. But as far as 5s and 40 pounders, there's no.
Yes, sir. So I think the question is, with a buggy horse harnessed up, ready to go, and you want it to eat some hay or something, I'm always a big proponent of don't exercise on an empty stomach because we get that splash effect. So he's trying to, you know, practice what I'm preaching and get the horse to eat something, but it doesn't really want to. That is a perfect situation for the pre-buff, because you can give it, it's instantaneously buffering the stomach. A lot of times we've actually had testimonials from people where horse doesn't really want to eat, give it pre-buff, it immediately soothes the stomach and then they actually want to eat. So if you get a horse in that doesn't want to eat, maybe they're a bit uncomfortable, then pre-buff is something that I would add to the program just to encourage them to eat because it helps them with that pain. Does that kind of help? Is that what he's talking about? Is there a benefit to feeding the DDA and the pre-buff at the same time? Absolutely. You wouldn't, in that situation, you wouldn't feed the DDA with the pre-buff. The pre-buff is the only one that's immediately working, so that horse is, you know, tacked up, ready to go, and he wanted it to eat something, and it wouldn't, whether it was excitement or not feeling comfortable. The DDA is something more of a maintenance. Every day, my little saying is every horse every day should eat the DDA, but not certainly not like timed. It just needs to be in the meal.
How long does the how long will a horse experience the benefit from that?
That's an excellent question. So, how long will the horse reap the benefit or the buffering effect of the pre-buff? Pull out your catalog, and actually there's a little chart that we did on the pre-buff, in the pre-buff page. At the University of Kentucky, we actually simulated the stomach environment and we measured how quickly the pre-buff would work, and it actually lasts for 4 to 6 hours. What are they eating around? The minerals. Oh yeah, go ahead, guys.
I'll start on it. The big thing that I always say is it depends on the feed you're feeding. If you're feeding a dry feed and you put the minerals on top, a lot of times people will say, well, they sift it down through the bottom. We recommend putting on oil. Our oil works very, very well. It ends up making the feed very palatable. Our oil is one of our most palatable products. Making sure you mix it in good once you put that oil on there. And the big thing is make sure you don't go home and if you need to feed 2 or 3 ounces of that product, don't start with that. Horses are such a creature of habit. We have to back it down, do small increments for that first week or so. Maybe pull the grain back, make them a little bit hungry. They'll gradually start eating on it and then fulfill up to where it needs to be.
I think to add on to there, the moisture part, you eat oil, water, anything like that. Banana flavored, I know you said it about banana flavored instant pudding, peppermint antacid, anything like that has some flavoring, just sprinkle a little bit of that on. Get them hungry, that's one thing RJ said, back them down. They're not gonna starve to death overnight. You know, make sure they've got hay, make sure they've got their water, obviously, but get them a little hungrier and then work back up. And some horses will shoot the lead of brick, other ones you feed one little thing and they're like, ah.
I will talk on that. That was a tough one to look at. The simple reason that we don't have the DHA perform is our cost. We kept getting driven higher and higher. It was going to be unfeasible for us to purchase, let alone try to sell it. But we did a lot of talking with Tanya. What could we do? It's a great product. The amount of DHA that is in our Breeders XL, if you were looking for that DHA product, by all means, talk to your territory manager. You can supplement in the Breeders XL, get that same amount of DHA, and fulfill those same requirements.
Oh, question about HYPP. So, quarter horse pedigree that cannot have high amounts of potassium in the diet, genetic condition. There's not enough potassium in any one of our supplements fed at the rates that they're fed. The first thing I ask people when they're quizzing me about the amount of potassium, telling me that there's too much in there, I can't feed that. The internet told me I've got to keep my diet less than 1.2%, and that's got 1.25 in it. And I said, what kind of hay are you feeding? Alfalfa. Everybody feeds alfalfa. My grandpa feed alfalfa. I've been doing that for my whole life. You know what alfalfa is? Straight potassium. So, no. The sensible answer to your question is that if your horse was hyper sensitive, you might be a little, we can talk about kind of the correct way to feed an electrolyte supplement. Any electrolyte is going to be the same. But other than that, the rest of the supplements, you feed such a small quantity. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Probably improve it. It's not milk-based.
She asked if the change of the metabolic will decrease the shelf life, and Dr. Cupid said it will probably will. I will tell you that if you open up the bag, Furman and I, when it first came in, we opened up a bag, and it smells like you opened up a fresh bale of alfalfa. Not like the metabolic was before, so we were very excited to see that.
What's the timelines on the fly control and the cool gut change?
The timeline on the fly control?
Yeah.
So we are actually, I was hoping to have a for sure answer on that, and to be honest, I'm going to tell you the end of April. I would love to say it's going to be sooner than that. We have already, Furman and I talked on it to get into the DAC bags, to get everything rolling on that. So we will, as soon as it is, there will be letters sent out, territory managers will know, but I don't want to miss fly season, but we want to get going on it.
And how about the cool gut? What's the timeline on that?
Cool gut timeline change. Dr. Cuban and I will be working here in the month of April, seeing what we can get accomplished.
Is there a protocol for someone who wants to do an event, like other dealers? Do you have to stay in your area, or if you want to go something a little bigger? What's the protocol for that?
Yeah, I think it goes back to communication. Talk to your territory manager, make sure they don't have someone else that's going to it, because it doesn't make sense for two dealers there. But as a dealer, there aren't protected territories or anything like that, but I want it to be worth your time, so I don't want you to go there and find out that, another dealer is there as well, and you're both selling the same thing and washing each other out. So I guess just the communication part. I know for the most part, all of us have Facebook groups that our group is in. Don't be afraid to pop in there and say, hey guys, I'm going to this event. Is there going to be anyone else in there selling the DAC products? you can do that or just reach directly to your territory manager.
I just have one, not a comment on that, but this was a situation that happened a few weeks ago, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to bring it up. So maybe one of your dealers. So a dealer messaged me and said, can you send me the research on product decks, on our rescue aid, I think. Somebody is telling me, this person I was talking to about it is telling me that hindgut ulcers don't exist, and so I want to show her the research that they do exist. And she, I think the person had some other supplement they were trying to sell, maybe, I don't know. But my initial reaction, I immediately sent her a paper on the incidence of hindgut ulcers, and there's veterinarians all around the world that will tell you this is a real thing. I mean, we've got horses, chronic diarrhea, colic, unexplained. I mean, this is a real issue. But then I got to thinking, I was like, why do we always have to constantly prove science? And Jenna mentioned it before, well, I've got a better product. You show me your science that yours is fine, Why do we constantly have to prove ourselves? We have the science. If you're trying to go against, all of the science and the norm, then that person that's arguing with you, politely, you show me your science. I've got a whole book full of science here. I've got 2 PhD nutritionists. I've got science coming out my ears, and your crazy wacky idea that whatever it is that you heard that you should be feeding, this is way better than anything you've got. Okay, fine, that's great. You show me your science, because it's unfortunate that we continue to have to prove ourselves and prove our science. But be confident that we do have the science. Be confident in the products that you're selling, that you're representing, because ultimately the only thing any one of us has is our reputation. And you can only stand behind products and companies that you have confidence in. And so I really do hope that when you come to these meetings, and I'm such a huge proponent of people coming to DAC Days, so that it really does help emphasize that confidence that you have, not only in the products, but in the brand, and that the team that are there. You may not see us when you're in that conversation, but we're right there. We are right there behind you in every conversation. And just know that we are there. Any other questions? It's not in the pasture link.
On the products that contain the GI Pro 3, if you look down at the bottom of all their pages, there'll be the PHN GI Pro 3 label on it. And then I think the sheet in your packet as well has them all broke down, kind of shows where they're at a supportive level and a therapeutic level as well. So.
So the question is, he's got a mare, she's in foal, she's going to have it in a couple of months, she's on Breeder's Choice. When the mare is born, should she continue to stay on the Breeder's Choice Plus? Yes, because that foal is also going to nibble away at her food, and that is going to help, the extra calcium is going to help that foal. At about 3 months of age, you're going to transition that foal to getting its own supplement. So at that age, it could get the cold thrower, which also has that calcium, but his system is adjusted to it. So yeah, I would keep her on the Breeder's Choice Plus at least until you wean. And if she's a broodmare that's staying in your broodmare band, by the time that foal is weaned, she's pregnant again anyway, so.
All right, well, we're gonna end the questions on that for right now. We'll go back to one more questionnaire at the end when we give out the last bit of our giveaways. With that being said, we're going to step into awards. So thank you, Dr. Cuban and Andy, on that. Let's give them a round of applause, guys. So in 2023, we handed out our first ever Commitment to Excellence Scholarship. We were very honored to be able to do that. I myself grew up in the horse industry, was able to do a lot with the horses, got a couple scholarships in the horse world, and I'd love to be able to pass that back down to the kids. My wife, my sister, both had scholarships to ride horses in college, and we wanted to be able to do the same thing. There's a lot of young kids that are traveling all around the United States showing horses time in and time out, and they don't get to be at home and be that kid sometimes. And so we wanted to give back to them. But in 23, we lost a person to us that really meant a lot, and we tried to get through this. Dr. Cuban and my wife and I were like, well, let's make this a little more meaningful. The guy who kind of stood behind all of us, my father and I, my Aunt Tina, my grandma's here today. It is now going to be the Harvey Jacobs Commitment to Excellence Scholarship. For many of you who don't know, though, my grandpa was probably my #1 fan. He was at every football game. I was the youngest youth kid to ever win the Quarter Horse Congress, which the video played earlier, Grand Champion Youth Yelling. I was 8 years old and I won that. And I could still hear him yelling. Holy moly. I was like, oh, Grandpa, calm down. It's going to be okay. So with that being said, we want to be able to honor him in the years coming. And I'm very fortunate to be able to hand out this scholarship this year to actually, which is kind of funny, and I joked about it, and I said this kind of seems like it's rigged because it's a dealer's daughter who ended up, I used to call on the dealer that won the scholarship. We're very excited to offer the scholarship once again as we're focused on the upcoming generations and being the future of the industry and supporting them to grow stronger together with our team. The scholarship application process required a 500-word essay explaining how equine involvement has prepared them for the future of what major skills they have acquired and how they will apply those skills moving forward. This year, we are proud to announce the recipient of the Harvey Jacobs Commitment to Excellence Scholarship is Jenna Fisher. Congratulations. This young lady from Kentucky expressed passion, leadership, and commitment to the industry and her education. She is very involved with the community and most of all, loves horses and credits much of her success to them. These are just a few of Jenna's outstanding attributes that stood out to our committee. Jenna intends on studying animal science pre-vet in college after graduating high school in May. We are thrilled to have Jenna and her parents here with us today to accept this award. So, when I said that I thought it was kind of rigged, which it very well wasn't, my wife is the one that is in charge of our scholarship process. All of these got handed in, and my wife picked out the top 5. They went to my mother, top 5, my Aunt Tina, my sister, then they came down to the top 3. They took the names off of them, so all it was the 500-word essay. And I read it, and I was like, wow, this one here, this blew it out of the water. And then she said, that's funny. She said, I figured you'd pick that one. And I said, why is that? She said, it's one of your old dealers. It's Robin Fischer's daughter. So thank you guys very much, and thank you. And we are very excited to have you. You get an awesome jacket here, and we look forward to your commitment to the industry in the future. Thank you. With that being said, can I have the whole DAC staff that is down here on the main floor, and if you're able to up there, come up to the front, please. So as my father said, he talked a little bit about how I put this together, and I had everything going great, and probably if you ask some of these people, they probably wanted me off their backs because I wanted to make sure it was perfect before my father got home from the So I was nonstop. Come on, guys, make sure this is clean. Furman has the warehouse. Him, Johnny, Ethan, and Vernon, they're back there right now. I think Furman's still up here, right here. Furman's like a brother to me. He knows exactly how things need to be done. He's grown up with my father. He's worked for us since he was 14 years old. And I tell everybody, Furman was like a brother to me before I even really knew my other brothers, because they lived far away for a long time. And so Furman knows when my dad's gone, when I'm not there, he doesn't have to ask, he doesn't need to call us, he just jumps on it and does it. And if you've seen our warehouse back there, you've seen the facility, he has it, it's spotless. So thank you very much, Furman, for all of that. The rest of the crew up here, our sales reps, my Aunt Tina puts this on, guys. My dad, give her a round of applause. I joke with her, you know, my dad says he's semi-retired, and Aunt Tina might be probably going to step in that direction a little bit, but she's going to always do DAC Days, even when she is retired. I promise you that. Her friend Lisa is sitting somewhere probably up top, over here up top. Without my Aunt Tina and Lisa, they've been up here all week. This week we actually were way further ahead of the game, got things done on Monday, had stuff lined up by Wednesday afternoon. Those two ladies did a phenomenal job. So one more time, let's give Lisa and Aunt Tina. So next we go into our sales reps and our territory managers real quick before we go into our top 10. Guys, time and time again, you know, I strive on the team. I played high school football like I had talked. Our team right now is hard to none. I love each and every one of them. We got to do a company trip this year. We got to take Performance First Nutrition, Dr. Cubic, with us on that trip. Being for us to be able to mingle, bond together. Yesterday our staff training was my year here, the best staff training we've ever had. We all intermingled, we had fun, we joked. Wednesday night we go get dinner, we come back to the house, and it's fun. So you guys are very fortunate to have territory managers like you do, and we are very fortunate to have you guys on our team. So thank you very, very much. And with that being said, we're going to, if the sales reps would stay up here that have the dealers in the top 10, and we're going to start right off into that. Let's give them all a round of applause. The top 10 dealers. Coming in at number 10 is Tammy Harms-Myers, Andy Ellsworth in Platteville, Wisconsin. We'll wait and give them one round of applause at the end. Number 9, Romp and Place Stables, Dennis Slaywall, Shipshewana, Indiana. I know Dennis was at the Ashland horse sale this morning, was at the office last night, went back to the sale this morning, came back today, was able to make as much as he could, so thank you very much. Number 8, Cub Run Milling, Lester Byler. Lester Ray, Lester Ray still here? Yep, right over there. Number 7, Aaron Yoder, Drakesville, Iowa. Number 6, Hillside Harness, John Graber. You know, we talk about these being in the top 10. You could probably go through here and ask any one of the people that are in the top 10. It's not just them. Their name might be the one that pops up with their business name, but deep down, it's the team that they have behind it. I was standing there talking to John and Henry and their team earlier today, and you know, the team means more than anything. The guys they have behind the scenes that are working day in and day out and are willing to come and learn and get that education means a lot. So thank you, guys. Number 5, Willis Graber, Odin, Indiana. Number 4, Nicole Varee. Number 3 goes to Homer Schleybaugh, Wisconsin. Number 2, Yoder's Blacksmith, Henry Yoder, Fredericksburg, Ohio. If I'm not mistaken, when I was a delivery boy, that might have been one of my first ever deliveries, was to Yoder Blacksmith when I was in high school. It was the closest one to home, I think. And number 1 goes to Mullet's Harness Up, Joey Mullet. Joey couldn't make it today, had a passing in the family, so I believe some of his crew is here, and maybe his boy is here, so. Thank you very much, though, to those top 10 dealers. Let's give them one big round of applause.
I told somebody earlier, I'll make one mistake today. I think I might have made one. I just need to organize myself. I was actually on track. Our top distributors. Number one coming in at Animal Health International in Loveland, Colorado. Number two is Elvie Schrog. Elvie Schrog, I'm sure that I can let my dad speak on this a little bit. I've gotten to grow a really close relationship with Elvie Schrog over in Arcola, Illinois. And he had a same thing. He had a nephew that passed away yesterday morning unexpectedly, so he wasn't able to make it. Elvie and I became kind of close over the years. I know my dad and Ruben had a very good relationship, and my dad had a hard time stepping in after Bob had left to give Ruben's respect, and Elvie and I are starting to get that, and I have a lot of fun getting over to travel with Elvie Schrog in that area. And number third is RJ Matthews, I believe. Yep, Kevin is here, perfect. So let's give our top three distributors one round of applause. This next award here is something that I've never done before, and we're going to start handing it out each year. It's going to be an award of excellence. John Helmuth is a dealer underneath of Elvie Schrog over in Illinois. Does a great job, attends DAC Days almost every year that I can remember, constantly calling on the phone, hey, where's my numbers at? Or I'll call him, hey, where are you at? How's things going? Always wanting to learn. He has a brother there that helps him as well. His brother was at the Tomball conference with me. Got to talk with him a lot on the products. So this award here is the new one. It's for John Helmuth. John, if you could come on up here. So I'm going to have Andy Ellsworth come on up here again. Like I said before, guys, I really didn't know where to start when I became in the general manager position. Kind of because of this guy. I was like, I'm going to stand over here. Andy has always been very self-motivated, driven toward the correct things, to learn that knowledge and stuff. And he put that on me. And you know, when I stepped in, I was like, I was the young guy on the totem pole. I have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to learn. I'm constantly learning. And Andy's been a great mentor to me. With that being said, you know, Andy went last year, and when I was my last year in sales, I told him I was coming after him. Well, I don't know what happened there, but I never even got close. Let me tell you. Yeah, he wasn't worried, and there was no reason to be worried. Last year, in 2023, Andy set himself goals. You know, every year I do an end of the year conference, and I ask the reps, or I have the goals that I have set for him. When I call Andy, he tells me his goals. I don't even have to give him what I think of where he should be at. I sit back and say, what are you going to do this year, Andy? How are you going to build the roof off the building? And in 2023, he most definitely did that. So with that being said, I messed up there again, sorry. We're going to go into the top territory dealer. So, the top territory dealer in Andy's territory is Homer Slayball. It'll be the top three that we're going to go through here. Runner up, Aaron Yoder. And third place, Tammy Harms Myers. It's pretty cool to see that, though, in his numbers. All three of those were in the top 10 overall in the company. And all three of those, as long as I can remember, have been at the DAC Days conference and also have been part or hosted the Midwest DAC Days. Dave Backman, if you would come up, please. Top territory dealer, Willis Graber. Coming in second, Cub Run Milling.
Third place, Rompin Place Stables in Indiana. Again, all three coming to DAC Days have been here every year that I can remember as well. So it does show, the numbers show the guys that are willing to come and learn, each and every one of you, the sales continue to grow. When we did our report last year at the end of the year after DAC Days, I would say 98% of the people that were at DAC Days that attended, hosted a meeting, their sales had a positive incline on them. Katie McGrain, would you come up, please?
Oh, I'm going up to
All right. Top dealer, or top territory dealer is Nicole Marie, Pennsylvania. Runner-up, Byler's Harness and Shoe Shop, Pennsylvania. And in third place is AF Equine, Alyssa Fasolo. Trapper. Gonna come up here, back there. Back there. All right. And many of you might know, I'm going to jump on this real quick. Everett Troyer used to be a territory manager for us. I was talking to him the other day. He's worked for us for about 13 out of the last 15 years. He left last year after DAC Days. He wanted to work on his family, do some stuff for himself. We actually brought Everett back on here about a couple months ago to help his dad be his dad's, what Everett likes to tell everybody, he's his dad's secretary. I don't like to use that word, but Everett is on board now, helping his dad. Him and his dad are working to cover the state of Ohio and West Virginia together. Most of you that are in Ohio have probably seen Everett now on the road. So you guys have both reps now, and I'm very excited to have Everett back on our team and be able to help us out. So number one is Mullet's Harness Shop, Joey Mullet, Middlefield. Number two, Yoder's Blacksmith, Henry Yoder. And number three is Hillside Harness Hardware. Thank you guys very much. So this here shows our $1 million territory managers. And like I had said earlier, Andy's first year with the company was $130,000 in sales, and last year he hit that $2 million threshold. So thank you guys very much, Andy, Dave, Katie, and Trapper, on your commitment to excellence here at DAC and being part of our team. And thank each and every one of you. Let's give those top dealers a round of applause. Okay, now I'll bring Andy back up and I'll do what I was trying to do earlier. So I've already kind of introduced Andy on that note. Andy's kind of held me to that standard. Andy and I have grown very close over this last year, being able to do some traveling together. I've been out now twice with him, with his DAC Days in the Midwest. Had a tremendous time. Other than last year, he made Dr. Tanya Cubitt, myself, and my wife go to Tammy Harmer's meeting. It was a great meeting, other than the fact Andy, he just went and set up and went and got dinner. We had a DAC Days. We had a meeting at night, got to where we were staying at like midnight or 1 in the morning, and had to get back up at 6 a.m. to go to the next DAC Days. And he tried to tell me we're doing that again, and I said, not a chance. I said, I'll do Tammy's meeting any day of the week, but I'm not doing that today. So Andy, he made me mad a little bit there, but Andy has hit that $2 million threshold in sales, and I can't wait to see where he ends up this year. So he ended up being our top territory manager and also our Rising Star Award winner with a 14.8% increase in his sales in 2023. So thank you very much, Andy. I talked a little bit on Andy and I. We got to go on a hunt, being that he was the Rising Star and the top sales rep. You can see the gun laying there. The deer actually ran right into the end of his barrel. So I won't tell the miss story on the first morning, but other than that, we had a great time, and I thank you again, Andy. So let's give him one more round of applause. Well, I believe that's the end of everything. We're going to go through, we have an open mic question and answer here real quick. I have a handful more giveaways though, so if I get a couple people to help me up front, we're going to run through the rest of our giveaways real quick. Paula Acton? Yep, right here in the front. Liz Marvel. Liz still here? Willard Miller. David Swarry. It's under Laura, as Lori Shoulders, yes. Laura's there? Yep, Lori's back in the back. Ruben H. Miller. Pam Wright. Cornell Hosteller. Amos Sliboff. Amos Sliboff. Brian Elliott. Nelson Slayball. Sylvan Stolzfus. Becky Kane. Marvin Byler. Miriam Borntrager. Jennifer Christmas. Jade Hurd.
Hey Jade, I got you back here.
Oh, sorry.
Here you go.
Richard Hicks.
Is that you? Right here.
Two more. Amanda Cessna? Lynn Spagnolia. And we have one more, right?
Yep.
Jonathan Troyer. Doug, right here. Alrighty, last quick thing, if you guys, you have in your paper, or in your folders, you have a review sheet, please fill those out, guys. We look at those, we read through those, so that we can hopefully upgrade it better for next year and get some feedback on that. So please fill those out. There's a tray right by the door over there. You should have your 3 color papers. You can throw those in the tray at the door as well. If you are planning on picking up your orders, you have to make sure those are paid for before you can leave. Like I said, thank you very, very much from the bottom of our hearts, all of us at DAC, our whole staff, every one of you guys, thank you very, very much. We're looking forward to a great 2024, and anytime anybody needs anything, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you. One more round of applause for everybody.